He ain't gonna. His ass gonna be right over here.
Uh-oh. Yes, it is.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you? I don't know what happened to you. You popped in and out.
Oh, I was there and then I wasn't, man.
Hi.
Wow, hey.
Good to see you guys.
Good to
You
see
as
you.
well.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day.
Hey, listen, it's great to be with you guys.
You too. Everybody is Walter from the West. Glad you can join us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
I
you.
think we're waiting on the other two, right?
Yep. Y'all coming?
Yeah, they're coming. I'm sure they should be here.
They just want to pop you in here.
I heard that.
So how's your week been? How's it going?
Oh, yeah, it's been great. I'm tugging along like everybody else, you know.
You've been surviving the coronavirus and
Oh,
quarantine?
yeah. You know, we live out here where it's kind of up and down in Los Angeles, you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're doing pretty good now, but a couple of weeks ago, it was pretty tough, you know.
Yeah.
We were trying to record. We had to stop all of that because, you know, we didn't want to take any chances.
Right.
You guys are off lockdown now, right?
We're coming off lockdown somewhat.
Oh.
Yeah, it depends on the area that you're in, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it depends. So what area are you? Are you in a lockdown area or no lockdown area?
No, the area I'm in is not locked down. I'm out in the area, and I'm in the San Fernando Valley. If you know Los Angeles, then you know I'm kind of out of ways from the city.
Okay.
But you still people are self distancing. You know, we still wear masks and all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now if your state and your governor said that you don't have to wear a mask, say they took away the mask mandate, would you still wear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
So what do you think about the vaccine that they have going on? Is that something that you think, would actually help?
Yes, I believe in it. I've had a shot. I've had both my shots, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Good.
And I'm telling people, you know, it's just, to me, it's another layer of protection, you know. I mean, I'll take all the protection I can get from this COVID-19. Right. I'm a stern believer. I think it's serious.
It is serious. It is serious. And if most of us took it more serious, we probably could get over it quicker, you know?
That's exactly right. That's how I feel about it, you know. I mean, but you know what? I got some members of my family that go way back, and they're kind of hesitant, and I'm not going to argue with them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's the veil. In fact, he was one that said, you know, they got it too quick for him. You know.
Oh, so it's too quick for you, huh?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right.
So are you saying, LaVelle, you said the vaccine is too quick for you? You're not ready for it yet?
Well, no, I finally did it, but it took a while for them to convince me, and I think Tyler Perry had a lot to do with it. He did a show about the vaccine, and and asked a lot of the questions that I had. So once he did that, I decided to deal with it, but I didn't want to deal with Moderna or even the Johnson products, so I chose to do the Pfizer.
Wow.
See, but I was told that, like, for most of us, we didn't have the option of which one.
No, you do.
We do.
Mm-hmm. You have the option.
Oh, see? That's
Yeah, you do.
No, yeah, you have the option. You do.
Yeah. But you guys, both of you guys are still, you still might be underage. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they won't let us slip up in there yet. We gotta wait like the rest of the other folks.
You got to wait until people my age get it first, right?
Right, like step aside, man. We gotta let these other folks get in here first.
Yeah, well, you know what? In a minute, everybody's going to be able to get it, and I advise everybody to get it.
Yeah, in the next, 2 months, I think everybody should
have it. By May, they said by May, everybody should be able to get it.
Yeah. And what's up with Scotty?
I don't know. You haven't got on yet, huh?
Scott don't want to talk to us. What's the deal? What's that about?
Yeah, man, he should have been on here.
Well, let's talk about what Scotty's we're trying to wait on him. Let's talk about you guys. What do you have going on right now? You guys have not missed a beat, doesn't seem like.
In almost 60 years.
What?
Yeah.
Still doing it.
Steady rocking.
Rocking. Listen, when they told me we was gonna be doing the whispers, all
Who
I
is
could
that?
sing, you.
When you
told me we were gonna be interviewing the whispers, all I could sing was Rock Steady for like 24 days.
That's the only one that you know all the words to.
Well, yeah, the only song
I ain't say it was the only one you know. That's the one
Well, that is so great to hear. I tell you, we had so much fun doing that. But you're right, we've been blessed. That's all I can tell you.
Yes.
Around. If anybody would have told us that we would have been around this long and still singing, I'd have laughed at them and said, "You're crazy." But hey, here we are. We're still here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to say this. I wanted to thank you guys because chances are you are a part of the reason why I'm sitting here today.
So thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could be of help.
Yeah. A whisper song at every family function growing up.
Yes.
I'm telling you, and to this day, like I'm an old school music lover at heart, and I'm telling you, you guys are honestly a part of my top 5. And I'm not just saying that because you're on camera with me right now.
Right.
Like
it's the truth.
It's the Whispers, Anita Baker, Dionne Warwick, Marvin, and the Temptations for me.
That's a heck of a list you got there.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a list you got.
Right.
I want your list.
What do you attribute to being able to stay so relevant for so long? Because everybody knows who you are. Even if you talk to some of the younger people younger than us, they know who you are. So what's the secret, or how were you able to stay relevant for so long?
You know, you're probably going to get one answer from Lavelle and one from me and Scotty whenever he gets on. But I think it really is first of all, we sing the music that I think everybody loves. You don't hear the term much anymore, R&B.
Right.
We're in the era of hip hop, and I dig that too. I love hip hop, but R&B, number one, we were smart enough to choose to sing R&B music, and we've been blessed. We got the greatest fans in the world. They've been with us all along, and it's always been them who we really considered. We've been nominated for the Grammys and American Music and all of that. But what means the most to us is our fans. I think that they've kept us here for this time. And we just feel like we're the luckiest guys in the world. We'd have done this for free. And whoever thought they was going to pay us to sing, you know?
Right.
Exactly. And
so let's go back to the 60s. Now, you guys weren't the Whispers when you first started. Am I right?
Yeah, it started as the Whispers, but we came together on a talent show. We weren't the Whispers on that talent show. In fact, the group that was called the Eden Trio, and Scotty and I were singing as the Scott Twins. And we were both waiting to go on to do our act, and this is in the middle 60s, when Motown was big, and vocal groups was a thing, stand-up vocal groups. So we said, hey, you know what? We were backstage singing along with each other, waiting to go on, and we sounded pretty good. So we said, after this talent show, why don't we just put our talents together, me and Scotty and Nicholas Marcus and another young man by the name of Gordy Harmon, and that's where we formed the group right then and there.
Wow. That's a super type of chemistry. Y'all must have been singing y'all butt off.
Oh no, it was big fun at the time. If you guys were too young, the early days of Motown was just incredible. I mean, the Four Tops, the Temptations, the Supremes. I mean, all of this was just great music, and we were no different than anybody else. We were singing that music along with everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, Lavelle, give me some take on how you felt, how the Whispers, has influenced your life, how it's changed your life, how, it, may have made a difference in your life. But what has it meant to you to be a part of such an amazing and legendary group?
Oh, God, it's been probably, I could say, actually, it's been the best journey of my life. I mean, before I'm always aspired to be in a vocal group, but never really looked at it like most people don't. They don't look at it as something that's going to really happen. It's almost like getting drafted into the NBA, to be with a successful group. And so for me, it was just a blessing. I always say that, your destiny is not really programmed by you. It's a higher power. So I wanted to be a police officer, and then I wanted to be a pilot, and was well on my way to being a pilot. And as a matter of fact, I wind up accomplishing that at the same time. But it just opened up so many doors of things that you can, that you can provide for your family. It changes your life in that respect, and you can, kind of drain through your family and your kids and things like that, and provide, a healthy, environment for them. So when I look at it, you know, I always, you know, me and the guys, they'll tell you how I am about it. I mean, to me, without the people, I mean, the whispers are the crutch of what, you know, are giving me a shot to be a part of a group like this, and which is what I want to be a part of this type of group forever. I mean, I was with other little groups and you get a fight and they break up,
Right.
you know, and I tell people, I said, people said, do you guys fight? You guys get along? I said, yeah, we fight like hell. But 2 seconds later, we're going to have lunch or have breakfast or whatever the case may be, because it's not something that we hold on to. You know what I'm saying? So we move on because it's about the greater good. So for me to be a part of something like that and uh, to experience the life that I've had, the travels that I've had, the accomplishments, reward, I mean, for as awards and things, man, it is something that when I look back, you know, matter of fact, me and my wife were talking about the other day. I said, once I retire, I won't be that guy that's going to be going to, backstage saying, hey, remember me? Remember me? I won't be that guy. I'll be the guy that says, okay, I'm passing the ball off to the next generation of entertainers. And, and I just feel like, that we've accomplished a lot. I think we still are, I think we're one of the best groups out there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, our legacy has been stamped, in history forever. So it's just been the greatest experience of my life, really.
So when you guys talk about retirement, I mean, you've been in the industry for, 60 years
Right.
at this point. Like, what does retirement look like for you guys? Cutting down on the amount of shows,
right.
Not recording. What does that look like for you guys?
Well, for me, you know what? You guys, two young people, you go to concerts, and let's be honest, when you're looking at a group that they've had their best days. You might not want to say, well, they through. But we've always said that when we really reach the point to where we can't do it anymore, we're not going to lie to ourselves,
No.
Mm-hmm.
And God is blessed. I don't know how and why, but here after 54 years, I still sing in the same key that I sang in when I was 19 years old.
You better sing, sir.
I mean, so the good Lord is telling us, but you know what? There will come a time when I know that can't hit them notes no more. That's the time you got to be honest with yourself. And what you have to think about is that am I going out here and giving these people who paid their hard-earned money a half show? I don't want to do that. So I don't know if you've seen us lately, but we still can bring it. Yeah, and as long as we can do that, we're gonna be honest enough. It's just I wish I could tell you what a great honor it is to go out on stage and listen to the roar of the audience when they hear one of our hit songs that we recorded over 20, 30 years ago. There's no feeling like that. You know what I'm saying? And we're just so, like Lavelle said, we're blessed to have that. But when it's over, you got to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, we had a hell of a run. Now it's time to turn it over to people like you guys, the younger generation, and let you do your thing. That's how we feel about that.
So, performing for over 5 decades, which decade or era of music was your favorite?
Wow. Well, you probably get. Well, I think we'd be unanimous on this, or maybe not, because I know we're so different. But I think 1979, 80 was the year that everything changed for us. That was really where people really knew 100 who the Whispers were, and that was because of our first, really our biggest hit album called The Whispers, and it had Rock Steady on it. And that particular album it changed our lives. It changed everything. How we looked at things, what we could, we played clubs and things like that, but we had a chance to see what really success was about. Our whole venues changed. We were playing in bigger arenas. Of course, your money goes up. I mean, it allowed you, like I said before, to provide differently for your family. So I think 1979 and 80 was the year that everything changed for the Whispers.
Yeah, that rock steady gets me still right now. That is my favorite. I'm telling you, my favorite Whisper song. I love that song. Love it.
Well, you know, strangely enough, that came about 7 years later.
Yeah.
Like Lavelle said, in 1979, 80, and The Beat Goes On was the biggest hit to this day that we've ever had. And little did we know about 7 years later that we'd have a hit almost as big, you know, and so both of them were great feelings, you know, no question about it. Scotty puts it like this: we was finally able to get our little shit out the cleanups. That's how he puts it. You know, you get his record, you know, and a lot of things change. Our whole life, and what it really said, our audience said to us, guys, we like what you do. You know, when you sell 2 million copies of anything, if that's not enough of a validation, you know, and we had been working a long time. You know, I mean, in 1980, we had been singing 14 years. And it was so funny to hear people say, have you heard this new group called The Whispers? And we would just laugh because we weren't new.
Right.
You know? But what it really said, is I tell young people this all the time, is that we didn't give up. You know, we kept on. Now, it got close. You know, my mom and dad, our mother and father said, wait a minute, y'all got to get some jobs with some benefits.
Right.
This entertainment thing is kind of rough.
Right.
But we stuck to it, you know. And lo and behold, come 1980, we had the first bona fide hit. And for the next 10 years, everything we touched was either gold or platinum. So we've been very blessed.
Speaking of it being rough, we were talking earlier about Anita Baker not having control of her masters, not having her masters. And tell me how that was, or how that went for you when you started thinking about your music and controlling your music and controlling your destiny. How important was it to have control of those things, like your masters and things of that nature? Do you still? And right now, how does that benefit you or not benefit you?
Let me tell you about my question.
That was your question?
Yeah, I know.
Because I want to know that same thing when you guys started the production company. So yeah, same thing.
Well, it was a little different from us because we didn't write all of our songs. You know, the primary writer in our group was Nicholas Caldwell, you know, who wrote Say Yes and Lady. We lost him in 2016. But if you remember when Prince went through the same thing with Warner Brothers, you know, they wanted his masters. And in Prince's case, you can understand why he drew the thing on his jaw and was so important to him, because everything he did, he wrote. So he owned it outright. And what he basically said is the same thing that the young rappers said 20 years later, which I admire them for. He basically told Warner Brothers, before I give it to you, I'll sell it out of the trunk of my car. I'm not letting you own me. Anita Baker went through the same thing. Anita was kind of like us because she sang songs that were written by various people, but because she was so big, she shared in the publishing as we did, and we wanted that right to do that. And record companies, like all record companies, they want to own as much of you as they can. And so, you know, we had a big fight with Dick Griffith, the owner of Solar Records, and it stalled us. You know, we were stalled for 2 years fighting over our rights. And it's the same old story. Now, today, it's totally different. You know, Beyonce and Jay-Z and all of the young people today, I admire them greatly because they own all of their stuff. And what they basically told the music industry is that before we let you own our shit, excuse my expression, we're not going to let you own our stuff. We'll sell it out of the trunk of our car before we give it to you.
That's right.
That's the stand that we tried to take in the 60s, but we just didn't have the power. This country hadn't come to a point to where they would let us do that. But as things go on, like everything, it got better and better for the younger generation. So I understand where Anita Baker's coming from. You know, a lot of, you know, before us, it was Chuck Berry, Little Richard. They all went through the same thing. You know, some of them got paid. In the end, I think James Brown got a huge settlement. Little Richard got a huge settlement, but it still wasn't enough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ownership means everything. Oh, there's Scotty.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
Welcome to the party, Scotty.
I have to apologize. I'm truly sorry. You know, I ain't nothing I can say except if you know you forget shit.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, but anything, what I was saying to talk about these masters is so important that you own as much of your music as you can.
That's true.
Because when you own it, you know, it ain't about the spotlight. Now you own, and when every time it spins, you are paid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So ownership means everything, you know.
But y'all should expect a nice little check because we've been streaming this music for the last couple weeks.
Oh, thank you so much.
For your payout of streaming versus spinning, as you just said, radio versus being on these platforms. What's the difference in the payout?
It's a little different, you know. Now, you know, we're not selling albums and CD. You know, you're selling CDs, but to a lesser extent. Now people can just buy a portion of your music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's not as big a payoff in the beginning, but like everything, the more they spend it, the more you make.
Mm-hmm.
But the key to it is that when you're on the platform, you got to ask yourself, what's being spun, and is it mine?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Do I own it?
Right.
Because no matter how much it's played, if you own it, then you determine who makes what.
Right.
That's the whole difference of the whole ball game.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? If you determine how the money is made, you running this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So these platforms that they have now, people are on them, they're owning their own material, and it makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Scotty, once again, welcome to the party. So
Thank
we
you
had
for
a
having
few questions earlier, and we want to ask you, what do you think your secret is, you know, being a part of this amazing group for almost 6 decades? What do you think the secret is for you guys to, you know, your longevity?
Well, you know what? I think we'll start out with desperation. and, then, and then it's our fans.
Yeah.
Our fans have allowed us to be here all this time, and we had enough sense to realize at an early stage in our career, be what you are, not what you ain't. And I'm thoroughly convinced that's why we're still here 54 years later.
So your fans and being original, just staying true to yourself.
Yep, you know who you are. Don't try to be something you're not. I love all the other stuff, but I wish I could do all the other stuff, but I know I can't. But what I can do, stick to that and do the hell out of it, and it will help you. I think in the long run.
So y'all still doing those dance moves though? Like, can you still spin? Can you still
Yeah, buddy. Still doing it. Yeah, that's what I was telling you earlier. When I told you, you know what? I can't wait to get on. You guys are coming from what city?
We're in Atlanta.
Oh, we cannot wait to get back to Atlanta, Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you've seen our show, oh yeah, we still stepping, you know, and we don't make no bones about it. I mean, I don't know how we doing it. All I know is we still can do it.
Thank God. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to get back to Atlanta for 2 reasons. Number one, we love the city of Atlanta, but your city and state, you guys have done something that has affected the whole entire world, not just the United States. The city of Georgia,
The
actually,
city of Atlanta.
huh?
The city of Atlanta in Georgia.
Yeah, both. Yeah, the city, but the state. The fact that you got 2 black senators now.
Yes, we did that. Yes.
I hope you realize what an important. I mean, this has affected the way this entire country does business. I mean, I don't know if black people really understand how important it was to make sure that those 2 senators were elected, and you guys did it. And what I'm so proud of is that, you know, don't tell me that black people don't go to the polls, and because Atlanta, Georgia, and the state of Georgia showed them that just wasn't true. And as a result, the whole world, because the United States is the most powerful country on earth, Georgia made it possible for the United States to operate in a way where people that look like you and me, we got a shot.
That's right.
That's how important it is.
Absolutely.
And we were proud of our city because where people thought we weren't going to show up and they tried to do everything that they could to discourage us from showing up, we showed up. And that's just not our city. That's just how our people, our community is built. We're built to overcome no matter what they're trying to do to us. When we want something, Atlanta, we're gonna stand up and we're gonna go get it.
But you know what? Atlanta as well, but then also I'm gonna have to say the world, because if it wasn't for everybody doing their part, we wouldn't have Joe, we wouldn't have Kamala. You know, so yeah, definitely shout out to everybody who did their part to vote. And remember, the vote is not done yet.
Right.
We still got more voting to do.
More now than ever.
Months.
Boy, that's so great to hear young people your age talk about politics, because I'm telling you, you know, there was a time with black people, they said, God told me, he said, ain't nothing in it for me. What am I voting for? I had to explain, brother, that's not the case. That vote that does things when you in your bed sleeping, you ain't thinking about it. You get some life that you don't understand.
Right.
And they have young people like y'all talking about it. That's what brings it about.
We have to be educated. And then it's our responsibility to educate those who don't know. Because for a long time, our community just had no idea how important their vote was, and then how important voting outside of the presidency was.
Yes.
So we learned that, because we learned how important those positions were going to be for our lifestyle moving forward. So we have to educate ourselves. We have to continue to educate our community.
Right. We were blessed enough to have this platform and have people that continue to support us. So we had to do our research and do what we had to do to inspire other people to do what they needed to do to, you know, get to where we are today.
Yeah, and you did a great job. You know, Stacey Abrams, I mean, you know, like most people, I wasn't that great up on politics, but man, she was on television enough to explain. And when you listen, she tells you how important it was. And like you said, the people in Georgia, they showed up and showed out.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
So when do we think, I mean, I know we're still in the whole pandemic still, but has there been any talk about planning a tour?
Yeah, I think the country, I feel like the country with the vaccines now, I think you can kind of feel that it's lightening up.
Yeah.
The guy that did our latest tune called How Long, he lives there in Atlanta. His name is Magic Mendez. He's our bass player, and that's his home in Atlanta. But he's coming out at the end of the month, at the end of March, and we're going to finally get back. What we ended up doing, we recorded in Scotty's garage because we still wear masks to record.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked to him a couple of days ago, and we plan to have something out probably by June, but hopefully by the end of the year, we can be back touring. I mean, if not, at the earliest, you know, in 22. But we're looking forward to it. I can't wait.
So
we're looking forward to it too.
And when it comes to the new music, like, what can we expect? What's going to be classic whispers, and what's going to be, you know, reflective of the time?
Well, Scotty just told you, we're gonna be who we are and not who you. It's one thing about the whispers. When you hear that music, you say that's the whispers.
Oh yeah.
The tunes that we're working on now, Lavelle can tell you, we're gonna be toasting the ladies. We sing about love. We sing about romance. We sing about respecting our beautiful ladies, our mothers, our sisters. So we got a couple of tunes that we're in the studio working on now, and when you hear them, you're gonna say that's the whispers doing what they do.
I love it.
I know that's right.
Scotty, how important is that though, to keep that same tune about loving your women, loving and respecting relationships? Because the way relationships kind of reflect right now, you know, anything goes. It just depends. But still being able to bring that music out about love songs and loving and respecting your lady, how important is that?
Well, you know, love conquers all. I mean, love is love. It don't matter. You know, I'd rather deal with the love than the hate.
Yeah.
And the theme for us is gonna always be love your mother, love your sister, like Walt said. You know, the ladies, but love. Period. The song the one that we just did, based on what we saw happening to George Floyd. Believe it or not, the message in there was saying, if you loved each other and treated people the way you wanted to be treated, we'd have never had that in the first place.
Wow.
So the theme is not going to change. It's still going to be about love, you know. And if you love somebody, you can get along with them. If you hate them, I don't have to tell you what can happen.
Right.
Now you know what? Now, this is a question that I have wanted to ask for years. I've listened to the music over and over. I tried to watch the videos. Now, Mr. Scotty, Mr. Walter, you guys Of course, y'all are twins. And it seems like you guys have the same voice, but I know it's something that separates you two from each other. Like, I feel like one's a little smoother and one's a little higher.
Oh, you got.
Hey, you just did it.
You
Oh,
just
okay.
did it. You just did
did
it. I sing about almost a half step higher than my brother. My brother is Mr. Smooth. You're right. I mean, you couldn't have said it no better. That's pretty much what it is. You know, back in the day, we would always argue about, you know, who wanted to do this lead and who wanted to do that. But our voices are pretty much identical. And with the exception of what you just said, depending on what key the song was in, sometimes it would have to go to me because it was a little bit higher. And if it's a little bit lower, we would give it to Walt because that's his area and he's smooth with it.
Yeah.
Well, I got a confession to make. I'll let you guys in on the secret. Scotty's being nice. We used to fight all the time about who's going to do. Both of us wanted to do the whole song. No question about it.
Right.
So we finally settled. You know, like you said, I tend to do the kind of smooth, pretty thing. Scotty does the soulful thing. The one song that Scotty did do all by himself, and he was doing it so good, I couldn't dare come in and interrupt anything. And that's a song called Lady.
Ooh.
We were in the studio.
That's my grandmother's song.
That's funny. You know, if you've been in the studio, we usually take like 9 or 10 takes of a song. Scotty did. We ended up keeping the first take that Scotty did on Lady.
Wow.
He was so into. Now we did other takes, but we knew when he finished that first take, it had the feel. We all in our hearts knew that we had a hit. And that's the one time that I did not argue with him. I didn't say no. He ended up singing that whole song. And, you know, we used to tickle the Lavelle and Nick because they would laugh. I want to do the whole verse. Scotty wanted to do the whole verse. So we finally decided, let Scotty do the soulful part and you do the smooth part. But on Lady, Scotty did the whole thing and he did the hell out of it.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about.
What I want to know, out of all the music videos that you guys have done, what is your favorite? Like, which one was the most fun that did not feel like work at all?
Wow.
Well, to me, I think it might not have been the best one, but to me, it was And the Beat Goes On. And the reason why I say And the Beat Goes On, because that number one, that was the biggest song we ever actually had. And when that song came along, it really did change our lives. You know, when we had been getting close and, you know, we almost get there and wouldn't quite make it. Finally, the night we finished And the Beat Goes On, we said, if this don't make it, then it's time to go do something else. But we knew the night we finished And the Beat Goes On that was going to be the biggest record up to that point that we had. So to me, I point to that song for almost everything because it literally changed my life and the Whisper lives. You know.
I think for me,
What do you think?
Well, I think for me, And the Beat Goes On, when we put that out, that wasn't an easy night in the studio. That was probably one of the most difficult nights in the studio ever. But I think that when we moved on and we wound up having another big hit, which the young lady was talking about, Steady. That to me was one of the great nights that we had, because working with Babyface, we had just finished doing a ballad for him, you know, called In the Mood. And
other song.
And so that night after we finished that, I mean, it just was, everything was flowing, everything was, and we found out how genius that man was going to wind up being in the future and how great he was going to be as a producer. But I tell this story because it was just amazing to me. That same night we were talking and I said, man, In the Mood is, man, if that ain't a smash, nothing else is. I mean, we knew it right off the bat. I said, but man, we need that up tempo. Man, can you come with an up tempo? We need an up tempo like And the Beat Goes On. Can you do something like that? He says, okay. And this was about 12 o'clock at night when we were finished. He said, okay, I'll be back tomorrow with another hit. And I'm like,
Okay.
you're gonna be back tomorrow with another hit. I mean, how arrogant is that, you know? But sure enough, he walked in there with his little 4-track player that he actually like he had 24 tracks on a 4-track player, and he played that song, and we were like, oh my God.
Rocksteady.
Rocksteady was born right there, and we were like, oh my God, this guy is too bad. But it was just shocking that he says, oh, no problem. I'll be back tomorrow with one.
Yeah.
Later, he was with another song. Yep.
Yeah, those two guys were Babyface, L.A. Reid at the time. Kenny, his name is Kenny Edmonds. Antonio Reid, they weren't known as Face in L.A. at the time, but I never will forget, we told Dick Griffey, the guy that owned Solar Records, we met those two guys in your city, by the way.
Yep.
We were down in Atlanta doing the Atlanta Festival that that used to take place every year. And LA and Face were down there, and they were basically going to groups submitting songs. Now, if you remember Babyface in LA, they were members of a group called The Deal.
Yeah.
And if you remember, they all wanted to be like Prince. I mean, it was amazing when we first met them.
Everything.
They had their hair done. Yeah, no question. I mean, they had makeup. But it's funny, the songs that Babyface was writing, The Deal didn't want to sing those songs. Excuse me. They didn't want to sing In the Mood. They didn't want to sing Rocksteady.
Right.
So basically what they ended up doing when they submitted those songs to us, we were in the studio, we said, great Deal. I'm so glad that you don't like them.
Right. We'll take them.
Yeah. Remember, The Deal went on to become, who they were in their style. But like Lavelle told you, we thought these two kids were so arrogant because when Lavelle said, man, we need something like And the Beat Goes On, Faye said, don't worry, tomorrow night I'll come back with it. Don't worry about it. And we laughed. They young, they talking all this stuff. You don't come back with another And the Beat Goes On 24 hours later. Lo and behold, that's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what they did. Yep.
Yeah.
Not only did they come back with that, but they came back with the Deal had a hit on them called Two Occasions.
Mm-hmm.
He had that in his repertoire when he came back, and then Portrait had a song called Roses Are Red. That was
Yeah.
And he had both of those too. The problem was that we couldn't do them because we had already had enough songs for our album on our CD at that time, and so we couldn't use them. But now looking back, God, man, I wish we would have put them on there because
you can't get enough hits.
Yep.
What's your favorite, like top 3 whisper song?
I already told you, Rocksteady is one of them, right? In the Mood is my other one. Yeah, that one was like for real. Don't make me sing it because
Go ahead. Let me hear a little bit of it.
But then And the Beat Goes On. So those were my 3 when we talked about it. So so Q, we were talking earlier, Q's a little younger than me. I'm a little older than Q, but I always talk about your newer, the 80s songs, and his songs are the older whisper songs. So what's your favorite 3?
So honestly, I love Welcome Into My Dream.
Yeah.
Like that is my song.
Oh, yeah.
Love is where you find it. That's
wow.
And the video to go along with it.
Yeah,
like they sit around that dining room table just
that is amazing.
And I'm gonna go with Do They Turn You On? Because my grandma, that's a song I played.
Boy.
That was the favorite songs, but the favorite album, I'm gonna go with Happy Holidays to You. That Christmas album, that one, it's not
you're right.
Unless
you play
I'm
that.
listening to that.
Boy, you're right. This is a young man that's got an old spirit. I'm telling you, boy. Because every song that he got my favorites in there. That was where you find it. It's my favorite.
Wow.
I want to see you down the line. I'm telling you the truth now.
Oh man, that is amazing. I'm telling you, man, you're too young to know anything about those songs. That's amazing.
But good music transcends all ages. It doesn't matter how old you are. You guys just produced amazing music. And if you're a music lover of any kind and you like music, you're going to go back to the whispers. There's no way you can't include you when you're talking about the history of amazing music and still being relevant today. So, I mean, how could we not?
Oh, listen, hey, we just appreciate you two guys for giving us this opportunity to on the platform to talk about our music. We don't take this. We really do appreciate that. No question.
We can't wait till you come to Atlanta because we want to be in on the
like we need to come backstage.
Oh no, we want to make that happen.
Well, we can't wait to get to Atlanta. That's for sure.
We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna make sure that happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the hookup that you did, Willette, just contact her, and we'll make sure that we can see each other in Atlanta and party out.
We can't wait. We're excited about that.
Sounds good.
I'm so glad to be interviewing with you guys because I'm telling you, I can't wait to see you dance because the videos when you dance is always gonna be my thing. Y'all got the smoothest moves ever. Just like
hold on, which video is it? I can't think of it right now.
The one I showed you yesterday.
With the newspaper.
Oh, hey Scotty.
Hey Scotty.
Hey Scotty. Yeah.
Keep on loving me.
Keep on loving me.
I've never seen nobody walk down the street so smooth.
Yeah, man.
Boy, I tell you, hey Scotty, what that mean? That's exactly.
Keep on loving me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Okay. Now it was another video. I was watching it the other day. I was in Cleveland last week with my mother, and I turned to YouTube, and all I saw, I'm like, oh, look at this old Mercedes. Now the old Mercedes is what got me. It was brown. Y'all probably know which one it was. Then you fast forward just a little bit, and I'm like, oh,
was that your problem?
Huh?
No, you had a Porsche.
No, I had a Porsche.
That was we went out in Calabasas and cut that video. That was my
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. Great. You saw that the other day, huh? I'm gonna have to go check that out myself.
Yeah. It was on my mother's playlist.
Wow, that's incredible.
We can't thank y'all enough.
Tell you, because without your mom, we wouldn't have these Whisper fans. Believe me.
Better know it.
And like I said earlier, Mr. Scotty, you missed this, but I said without the Whispers, I probably would not be sitting here today.
Oh wow, that's an incredible compliment, man. I can't thank you.
On Friday and Saturday nights when the family would get together, the kids would go in the basement, the grown-ups upstairs with the dark liquor.
Right.
You already know. That was a good time.
Yep.
We just appreciate you guys so much for joining us, for allowing yourselves to come and bless our audience. We are getting so many comments and everything. People are so excited to see you. They're glad that you're here. They love who you are and who you'll always be.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. Believe me. Now we got to do is hook up in Atlanta and hang out.
That's
right.
I
was about to say, when that new record dropped, when that tour is booked, definitely and we'll be paying attention to Instagram.
Right.
That's how we find you guys. But
you got it.
We will absolutely look forward to that.
Yeah, and I'd like to also, man, I'd like to right now, just kind of shout out condolences to the family, Reggie Warren of Troop. Passed
that's right.
52.
Yeah.
And he was one of the original members of Troop, and he passed a couple of days ago, and we just want to send our heartfelt condolences to his family and Troop as well, because I know that as his brothers, they're probably going through it as well. But he's 52 years old. It hit me because we've been singing longer than he actually lived.
Alive.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know that. I just heard that, Avil.
Yeah. I just I catch everything on Facebook and stuff, and
wow.
I saw that, and I was like,
sorry
wow.
to hear that.
52 years old. He had been suffering with with ongoing illness, but they sent him home, and he passed at home with his family all around him. So we just want to let him know that our hearts are with them. And
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, guys. Once again, thank you guys so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate you guys, and much continued success I would say to another 60 years, but I heard retirement earlier, so.
We still got some things we're going to do before we retire, so we're going to be here a little bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be there.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys, it's a pleasure. Take care.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
God bless.
Right. Take care. God bless you.
Yes.
Oh, that was awesome.
Wow.